Have you ever wondered if it's possible to transition your relaxed hair to Microlocs? I'm going to be addressing some of those myths versus facts in this video today. And actually, this video is by special request from one of my followers. So I just decided to go ahead and dive in and give you all some information. So if you are transitioning from a relaxer to maybe wearing your hair in its natural state, or if you are trying to get Microlocs, this is the video to watch. I'm going to get into it right now. Stay tuned. If you are brand new here, let me just take a moment to introduce myself. My name is Nao Manzili, and I am an expert in the industry. I've been doing natural hair as well as Microlocs professionally for a little over 2 decades. So everything that you watch on this channel, everything that you absorb here is completely experiential. I am definitely super knowledgeable about Microlocs, very knowledgeable about natural hair. So you are going to learn a whole lot if you keep following this channel. I wanted to address and to talk about a special request from a supporter or follower who wanted to know about what they needed, what they could expect, or what they needed to know if they were transitioning from having a relaxer and they wanted to install Microlocs. One very important thing that you need to understand is that it's not ideal to transition directly from a relaxer to Microlocs, but if you really wanted to get Microlocs done and you had a relaxer, it's still possible. But you have to seriously lower your expectations for the journey that you're going to be starting if you are going to decide to wear your hair in its relaxed state and go straight into Microlocs. I don't want to make this a very listy thing where I'm going step 1, step 2, or first, second, third. So let's just make this a chat, okay? One of the things you want to keep in mind when you are getting a relaxer done is that the texture of your hair in its relaxed state is not the ideal texture when you want to transition to Microlocs. When you're transitioning to Microlocs, the ideal texture is in the 3 to 4 hair type range. If you know anything about the natural hair type chart, or how your hair the state your hair is supposed to be in for it to be ideal to get locked, pay attention to the hair type chart. When we're talking about the hair type chart, we're talking about 3A, 3B, 3C, which is your curly girls, your coily girls, and then we go into the 4A, B, and C range, which is your tightly coiled girls and your kinky girls, okay? And we're talking about how your hair strand bends, okay? When I talk about natural hair type or the hair type chart. Okay, so on the hair type chart, the ideal range is anywhere from 2C all the way to 4C, and really in the 3 and 4 range. But the 2s, like 2C, could be acceptable as well. It'll be challenging to transition to Microlocs, but it'll be it's still acceptable. Okay, when your hair is in a relaxed state, your hair is really like a type 1. Or 1B, 1C on the hair type chart, or only a very slight wave or a very slight textured type of hair. So when your hair is relaxed, it's really challenging to create Microlocs on your hair, but it's possible. If you are going to be doing Microlocs, there are some Microloc methods that you may not be able to get done. You're not eligible by any means to get done, but you can still use other methods. I want you to watch all the way to the end of this video so you can get all of the information that you need if you are going to be getting your Microlocs done from a relaxer and while it's in a relaxed state, okay? The first thing you have to keep in mind, I think we're at the second thing at this point, but y'all stay with me, okay? The second thing you want to keep in mind is that if you are transitioning from a relaxer to Microlocs, you want to immediately stop relaxing your hair. That's like a no-brainer, but maybe some people may not realize that that's important. So you want to immediately stop relaxing your hair to allow your new growth to start to come out. Okay, even though you are transitioning from a relaxer, You don't want to treat it like, okay, well, I can just keep relaxing my hair, and then, when I'm ready, I'm just going to go ahead and relax my hair. So, for instance, if you have had a consultation and maybe your stylist that's going to be transitioning your relaxed hair to Microlocs, if they decide, okay, I'll see you within a month or 2 months or a couple of weeks, now is not the time to go and get a fresh relaxer. Okay. And this, like I said, this is common sense for a lot of people, but for people that really don't know anything about natural hair or anything about Microlocs, this is for you, where make sure you immediately stop relaxing your hair, because now you're trying to transition your hair from one texture and one state into wearing locks. And in order for your locks to be healthy and develop well, the kinkier your texture, the better. Okay, so already the odds are against you if you are trying to go from bone straight or very, very, very loose wave or textured hair to locks. So you want to immediately stop relaxing your hair. You also want to stop using any heat styling tools, blow dryers, curling irons, flat irons. You want to stop using any heat styling tools that manipulate your hair to being straight all over again. Okay, so no blow drying, no heat styling tools at all. Okay, just leave your hair as is. The only thing that you can probably wear up until your install appointment is maybe a protective style, like a braid style, maybe wearing your hair in braids and allowing your new growth to come out, or wearing your hair in a weave, where when you take the weave out, you have maybe a half an inch of growth. So protective styles are okay, but definitely no heat styling tools, and definitely stay away from getting a fresh relaxer done. Okay. Something that you have to consider when you are moving from a relaxer to Microlocs is that you also want to stay away from conditioners. So let's take a step back. No conditioners, no heat styling tools, and no relaxer. Nothing that manipulate or change your already straight textured hair. So then, not altering the natural texture of your hair is an absolute must when you are transitioning to Microlocs, but it's okay to do a protective style. Okay. One thing to consider is that when you're going from a relaxer into Microlocs, you are now, like, Microlocs is not a hairstyle, right? Like, you can't just put it in and then take it out like the next day or the next week or the next month. Microlocs are meant to be a lifestyle journey or a lifestyle transition. It's a hair transition. You are changing your strands of hair, you're transitioning your strands of hair into now strands of lock, a whole other category of hair type. Okay, so you want to make sure to just leave it alone. Don't do anything to manipulate it. Don't do anything to change the texture or how the natural hair feels, conditioners and things like that. Make sure that you're also choosing a Microlocs specialist that knows how to do Microlocs on your hair type. You don't want to go with a novice Microlocs specialist by any means. They won't do a good job. Okay, go with someone who have either done a chemically relaxed hair texture, transitioned it into Microlocs, cultivated it along the way, versus someone who's a total novice. Someone who's a total novice, this is going to overwhelm. So you want to choose someone that is maybe a real professional with a lot of experience, or maybe even an expert, to help transition your hair along the way. Because if you're going from a relaxer to Microlocs, your hair is going to see a lot of different possible issues along the way. For instance, if your hair is still in a straight texture and you transition to Microlocs, you could encounter bunching, you could encounter a lot of slippage, you could encounter a lot of holes. So along the way, someone that's not a novice will know how to repair your locks as it goes along. They'll know how to close off the holes. They'll know how to braid and band your hair properly. They'll know how to cultivate your locks properly as it goes through the maturation stages. Excuse me. So you do not want to choose anyone that is a novice that won't be equipped to transition your hair or cultivate your locks along the Microloc journey. Okay, so keep that in mind, not to book anyone that is a total novice. Book an expert or someone who has experience with transitioning relaxed hair to microlocs. One of the most important things that you want to consider as you begin this journey with your relaxed hair texture is that you want to do an in-depth consultation with someone who is really, really good at what they're going to be doing. Just for pointers, if you are getting a consultation with a microlock specialist, I think you'd only be eligible for maybe 2 out of the 5 methods of microlocks. Those 2 being the micro interlock technique and the microlock extensions technique. So just off the bat, anyone that has a relaxer, they're going to be eligible for those 2 techniques. And you have to make sure you listen to your consultant or your specialist about all of the things that you need to avoid. You need to avoid using any color. Any kind of chemical processes is definitely going to change or keep your hair in that straight texture or keep your natural texture altered. So you need to avoid color altogether until your microlocks completely mature, until it goes through all of the processes of maturation and fully mature. You want to avoid any conditioners, at least for the first year or 2 with your microlocks. Just focus on using clarifying shampoos, and that's it. And don't even put a lot of moisture in your hair at all. Like, don't do anything that's going to cause your locks to slip or slide or bunch up. Listen to your microlock specialist. If I was to do your consultation, I'd tell you all of these things. Stay away from excess moisture, stay away from any excess products. Don't use any oils or butters. Definitely, that's across the board for any microlock early in the beginning stages. But everything that a regular microlock install requires, you have to like do more than that. You have to double down on the basics of what your consultant may be telling you, the do's and don'ts in your consultation. You really have to be very diligent because with bone straight texture is already not ideal to get microlocks done. Okay, so realistically, you want to going into this, you want to be very realistic that this is not ideal. Your locks could be a challenge. It's going to require a lot of repairs along the line. It's going to require you being faithful and diligent to your service appointments. Do not miss a service appointment. This is not the time to go 4 or 5 weeks past your time. As a microlock girly, you should be going in every 4 to 6 weeks to get a retie done, to get your locks cultivated, but you want to make sure you stay on schedule with your retie appointments and your grooming appointments. Okay, this is not the time to miss those appointments. You want to stay on schedule, especially with your hair texture. Okay, if you are going to get microlock extensions done, keep it a buck. Keep it a buck, and know that with extensions, because of your texture, those extensions may not mask the straightness all the way, which means, if you have a relaxer done or you have a press done, and if you don't go to the right technician, how along the way as your braids or twists matures or gets older, those straight hairs, because you have a relaxer, those straight hairs starts to poke out of the extensions. This is the same thing that rings true for microlock extensions. Okay, if you don't go to a technician that is like really, really expert or really, really great at adding those extensions to your relaxed hair, you will probably have issues with your hair poking out of those extensions. Okay, now your technician is not supposed to cut those off, trim those off. It's just going to make it worse. Okay, so this is part of the reason why starting your microlocks with straight textured hair is not ideal, because you can meet a lot of issues. But if you're willing to work through those issues because you really want your microlocks done, then go for it. Absolutely go for it. But I'm going to make this analogy. Getting microlocks done with your relaxed textured hair is almost like getting a full face of makeup with, bad skin. If your skin is not healthy, your skin is not prepped and beautiful and glowy and healthy, you can put a whole bunch of makeup on. You can be snatched with beautiful contouring, beautiful highlighting, and you'll still see the acneic skin underneath that makeup. This is almost like what it is when you get your Microlocs done with straight textured hair. It's not an ideal textured hair to start Microlocs. So aesthetically, you just have to do what you can do to just rock it. Just rock it. If you're good with it, then great. You know, in a matter of months, your new growth is going to start to come out, and then you're going to start to see the relaxer shed off. Now, the relaxer is permanently straight hair because of chemical processes. So it won't just turn into locks automatically. More than likely, those straight ends are going to shed off as your locks go through the maturation stages and your locks start to form. Those straight ends are more than likely going to shed off. Okay. So listen, I may be able to add more to this, these suggestions and these facts versus myths in another video, but honestly, this is all I can think about right now. I may add some more in another video and do a follow-up video, but I hope this has helped you. I hope this will be something that you will consider as you start your Microloc journey. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, or comment below this video if you were relaxer before and now you've transitioned to Microlocs and you have beautiful Microlocs. How has your experience been? I personally, when I was behind the chair, I would discourage people who came in with straight textured hair or relaxed textured hair or heat damaged hair. I would discourage them to go straight into Microlocs because it's just not ideal. It's a challenge for a specialist to cultivate that, to transition that into Microlocs. It's a serious challenge. My personal suggestion to you is to wait. Wait until you have enough new growth, and possibly, if you're brave enough or bold enough, trim off the relaxed ends and then start off with fresh, beautiful, natural hair so that your Microlocs can be in pristine conditions. Okay? But if you don't want to wait, hey, listen, you have to be able to rock it out with what you already have. And if your technician or your specialist is superb in their skill set, then you have nothing to worry about. And they are going to cultivate it extremely well throughout your Microloc journey. Stay tuned for the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below what resonates to you. In the meantime, you guys, let's be about the business of Microlocs.